Hi everyone, right, so in this video, I'm sorry about yesterday. I didn't upload a video yesterday. As I said before, I'm up to uploading a video about ADHD, autism, at least once a day, every day. But yesterday, I was at a gig, not at, going to see a gig, I was actually in a gig, and all day I was preparing, kind of psyching myself up, then we did it ended late, and I was tired. Anyway, this video, I'm just going to start talking about some unique advantages of autism, because I think just as much as talking about challenges and difficulties in terms of autism and ADHD, it's just as important to talk about the positives, to remind people that there are benefits, there are advantages, there's a bright side, okay? Because far too often I have met people or heard of people who either get a diagnosis or have been diagnosed for a long time and can only ever focus on the negatives, on the challenges and the difficulties, and that's just not fair, it doesn't make you feel good. And it's important to recognize your strengths as an individual and the strengths you can get from conditions such as this, that innate abilities almost that you may have. Now, I just want to address as well before I get into it, for the first one today, I'm going to talk about, attention detail. See, my brain went there for a sec, but I'm going to talk about attention to detail because lots of people with autism tend to have a really excellent grasp of detail or focus on certain activities or tasks, and that's what I'm going to talk about. But I just want to address that there is this huge misconception if you have autism, you're going to be like a hyper genius or something at some level, maybe you're unbelievable with computers, almost like superhuman abilities, or you're like a phenomenal artist without ever being taught the trade, or like in TV shows or programs when you're able to do something most people think is impossible. But this is the thing, that is not true, okay? Yes, there are many advantages with autism, many advantages that can help and contribute to talents and skills that can become that can become kind of extreme talents and skills in their fields, it does seem almost like a superpower at that point. But at the same time, not everyone with autism is innately going to be brilliant at something, it's just like with anyone else. There's might be some talent there might be a fascination with something or some intense interest, but it needs to be built on, it needs to be learnt, or it needs to be practiced. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Now, in my case, attention detail for me usually comes into art. Now, I've always loved art, but when I was a kid, it was like stick figures. And then out of nowhere, I was drawing at a much higher degree, a much higher level of sophistication, especially when it came to fine art. If it's paints, I suck with paints. Like, I try my hardest, and occasionally I've produced something that's pretty good, but when it comes to paints, it's too unpredictable for me. The mixing of the colors, it almost like sets my anxieties off. At least with a pencil, I have complete control, even when it comes to the gradients. So when it comes to pencil work, fine art, that's where I'm best suited. Now, I remember one task I had in my art class, which was they had these bones, these skulls, because there's all notches and scratches in them, and they would let you pick one, put it on the table, and then they would say, right, your task or your next task for this class is I want you to draw that. Afterwards, they make us do something to it, like maybe redraw it in like a pen where you could rub the shade the lines, with your finger, or dip it in coffee. You could do whatever you wanted to make the picture a little bit different. But first, they wanted us to draw it with a pen, by the way. So I did. And I remember having the skull in front of me, and every time I've ever tried to draw something where it's just as I see it in front of me, and I remember my grandpa, who is a brilliant artist, when I was really, really, really young before he passed away, he used to say this thing to me where he'd say, just look ahead and draw what you see. He used to say, draw exactly as you see it. So because of that phrasing, when we had this task with the skull, I would look at it, and every notch, every scratch, I couldn't ignore it. Every difference in shade, where it was more brown or more white, I had to add that in. And it took me a while, because I was invested in getting every detail. There wouldn't be one that I'd missed. And I kept that up with my artwork, and I got lots and lots of compliments from teachers who always found it amazing, the work I was producing. And there were students who were under the impression this was just like an innate ability. But no, I was actively focusing on the details. Now, some people with autism I've met have got like a natural attention for detail. Like, you don't really notice the things that people are wearing when they cross you in the street. But I met people with autism on different levels who could pass 5 people in the street and tell me exactly what they were wearing without ever looking at them, without ever really registering them as a person. But it's like they're hyper-focused and they just know, they just remember, the colour sticks. And if I try to dissuade them or say something like, oh, well, what if they were wearing this? They'd be like, no, adamantly, no, it was this. I swear to God, it was this. So, and I've seen on documentaries and stuff, tests to do with things like that. It also contributes to like having a good memory, which is something else for me. It's like details are not missed in that sense either. But besides that, the attention to detail in terms of an advantage of autism also, I feel like, really depends on exactly what the details are part of, you know? So say if, and your personal interest. So, for instance, me, I love TV shows, I love anime. Now, when it comes to them, I'll watch them once, and I will never forget a detail. I remember every character's name, I remember their backstory, their relation to any other character, why they did certain things, why they didn't do certain things, and I can tell you, easy. Same with books. And it's like I used to have a thing about playing like little games that were based on TV shows, like Red Dwarf and that, where even though if it's seasons upon seasons of information, I just remember, I know. And I can even, more or less for the most part, guess which episode is in what season. Now that's not just memory, that's also attention to detail, because I'm highly interested in that show, in that context, in that task. Now, and my brother, one of my brothers, he's obsessed with Sonic, so when it comes to the characters and he wants to draw the characters, he can do it off of memory alone, or My Hero Academia characters, because he loves them that much. The details from when he's seen them on TV are not lost on him, he just remembers them. And same with my other brothers when it comes to things they like. So when it comes to attention to detail as a positive or a unique advantage of autism, it does depend also on your unique interests, you know, because why it is you're picking up on these details. You may pick up on the details innately, but besides that, it's happening because you already love something that they're connected to. So picture, TV show, book, like I said. If you love cars, then maybe you'll pick up on the little details of a car. If you like puzzles, you'll pick up all the little details in a puzzle. Like 1% Call-Up is a great game, that kind of thing. So it's hard to put into words, but yeah, that's kind of how it works. It's like your brain is just picking up these things because you're already interested in them. You're already stimulated to want to remember these things, to want to know these things, and then you will know them. So that is one unique advantage of autism. And of course, an attention to detail, if that's one of your advantages that you've noticed in yourself, if you have autism or someone else who has autism, is really, really helpful because it can... I know teachers who are on the assumption these advantages, while they're nice to have, wouldn't really contribute much to future careers or future pathways. But that's just incorrect, because say if your interest was in animals, you would not miss a single detail about animals. Say if you're in a biology class, you remember that. Then what if you want to become a vet? You know, it's that kind of thing. These details stick with you. And it's a good thing because they can really contribute to whatever it is you decide to do in the future or decide to do for yourself. And that's anything, art, TV, if you want to make games, if you're great with computers, all these details will stick with you, and that's a good thing. So anyway, I think that's a good place to end this video for today, and I'll upload the next one tomorrow. But if you like this one, then please leave a like, comment, questions in the comments, requests in the comments, any thoughts or opinions, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and please repost the video just because, you know, again, it helps raise awareness, gets the word out there more. That's what I'm looking to do, and also, I don't know, my benefit though, yeah. But besides that though, I hope you liked the video, and perhaps you want to see the next one. If so, I'll see you then. Till then. Bye! Step into the spot.